Thank you, sir. Thanks for your help. This is for you. Okay, story time first. Okay, so you had plenty of time taking pictures inside the Forbidden City. No worries. We'll be hanging out in this complex for 3 hours. Okay? So, let me put on this earphone first. You can press that little round thing. Yeah, press that little round thing for 5 seconds. 5 seconds, yes. Okay, check. Can you hear me? Excellent. There are so many people in the Forbidden City. I don't want you to be interrupted or miss something important about the Forbidden City. So let's get started from this map first. And okay, you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, very nice. This is the map of the Forbidden City. And the size of the Forbidden City is 72 hectares. 72 hectares equivalent to the size of 178 acres, the size of 100 football fields. That's the size of the Forbidden City. Yeah, it is like a city which accommodates 9,317 rooms all together in this huge complex. If one wants to sleep through the individual room on a daily basis, on an every night basis, it's gonna take 25 years to sleep through the whole rooms in the Forbidden City. Okay? But today our tour will be going along the central axis or along this meridian line in the Forbidden City. Okay? We just came through this gate. The gate is called a Meridian Gate because the emperor thought that his residence was built along this meridian line. And the gate standing at the southern part of the meridian line should be called the Meridian Gate. And the central entrance, the entrance we just took, and was reserved for the emperor only. And nobody were allowed to walk in the middle back in the day. Okay, so only for the emperor, and we'll be walking along this meridian line to the outer court and the inner court. So the outer court and the inner court. Outer court refers to those 3 major palaces where the emperor celebrated their birthdays, the winter solstice, the Chinese New Year, but they didn't come to this area very often, say 3 or 4 times a year. They spend most of their times in the inner court in this area to hang out with their ladies. The empresses, consort, and the pretty girls back in the day, okay? So our tour will be going from the outer court to the inner court. But the thing is, most important buildings built along the central axis still remain close to the public. We cannot walk into the palace. What we can do is standing right outside the gate and take a peek far away from inside. We cannot get a very good look of those furniture displayed inside the palace. That's why our tour will start from this furniture hall in this area right behind this building. The furniture hall warehouses 300 beautiful furniture from the ancient dynasty. We can give them very good look. Those furniture are very similar to those furnitures displayed in these major palaces. Okay, so outer palace and the inner palace. If time permits, we can also visit a little bit in this area where the ladies live. Like the Dragon Lady. The Dragon Lady was the most powerful lady at the end of the Qing Dynasty. She ruled the country for 48 years. Empress Dowager Cixi, a very powerful lady. And then we'll be going to this imperial garden and hanging out a little bit in the eastern part of this palaces where also accommodated those ladies. Well, if time permits, we can visit this palace, the only European style building in the Forbidden City. But unfortunately that building has a similar fate as the Titanic. Okay, I'll give you more stories about that building later. And then when we finish that part of the tour, we'll be coming along this way and make a left turn to the Eastern Palace Gate. I'll have to stop there because I'm going to have another tour this afternoon. So I will see you off over here. You need to walk out of this gate and we'll be seeing that area where we started this morning, okay? So let's flip it over, take a look at those pictures of the emperors. Okay, so 26 emperors in the Ming and Qing dynasties, the 2 latest dynasties in China's history, and there are many dynasties in China's feudalistic period. Started from Qing Dynasty 2,200 years ago, and followed by the Han Jin, Sui, Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, Qing. Ming and Qing are the two latest dynasties. Pretty much all those emperors lived in the Forbidden City for 500 years. Those two emperors, they lived in Nanjing, the former capital city of the Ming Dynasty. He established the Ming Dynasty. He defeated those Mongolian people, drove them all the way back to the Mongolian steppe. And who established the Ming Dynasty with Nanjing as the capital city, Nanjing, the southern capital, and himself and his grandson, those two emperors lived in Nanjing. But the third emperor in the Ming, who usurped the power from his nephew, who knocked down his nephew, and instead become the third emperor in the Ming Dynasty, Emperor Zhudi, and who moved the capital from south to north, from southern capital to northern capital, from Nanjing to Beijing. He built the Forbidden City. And the Forbidden City started to be built in 1406, which took 14 years, and completed in 1420. So let's do the math. What is the age of the Forbidden City? 1420 till now. 605 years old. Okay, that's the age of the Forbidden City. He moved the capital. He built the Forbidden City. After he passed away, and all his descendants, all those emperors, they lived in the Forbidden City for more than 200 years, until the last emperor in the Ming Dynasty, Emperor Chongzhen. This guy came across some huge problems when the country was plagued by corruption and eunuchs' interference in politics, and also the civil war broke out during that period. And those people, they are referring to those peasant uprising army. They were attacking the city of Beijing in April 1644. He got so worried and tried to summon his ministers and officials to fight those people off, but nobody responded, and nobody helped him. He got so desperate and went up to the hill. The hill locates behind the Forbidden City, where he committed suicide by hanging himself. When marked at the end of the Ming Dynasty, that was on April 24th, 1644. Okay, he killed himself at the age of only 34. And then those peasant uprising army, they came into Forbidden City and occupied this place for 42 days. Later on, those Manchurian people, they came from northeastern part of the country. Their population was very tiny, very small, but they were very powerful, very good at war, at fighting. They also took advantage of the civil war. The emperor engaged with those peasant uprising army. They took the advantage of the civil war. They came to Beijing and defeated those peasant uprising army, kicked them out of the Forbidden City. Later on, they took over the whole country and started a new dynasty, which is called the Qing Dynasty, Qing. Okay, the last dynasty. This dynasty lasted for 267 years, for 10 generations, until the last emperor. So the last emperor, the only picture out of 26 portraits, because he's the most recent one. He was proclaimed to be the emperor at the age of only 3 years old, and he was abdicated, and he retired at the age of, what is this sign? 6. Okay, this is a hand gesture indicating the numbers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, he retired at the age of 6. And then he was kicked out of the Forbidden City in 1924. In 1925, the whole complex opened to the public as a PalaceMuseum. That's why the Forbidden City has two names, Forbidden City and the PalaceMuseum, because it is called the Forbidden City because which used as the living residence for those emperors for 500 years, and which opened to the public as a PalaceMuseum for 100 years. That's why it's also called the PalaceMuseum. Has two names. And this year is the 100th anniversary of the foundation of the PalaceMuseum. They're going to throw out a lot of exhibitions, celebrations out here in this Forbidden City. Okay, that's the introduction about those buildings, the history, and the emperors of the Forbidden City. Any questions? So far, so good? Okay. Okay. Now we are going to that furniture hall. We'll be coming out of that gate over there. Out of that gate, where has the best angle taking pictures is in this area, okay? And then later on, we'll be going our tour along the central axis. So when we finish the tour of the outer court, we will be taking like a coffee break, okay? Where you can grab like a ice cold coffee. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your help. This is for you, okay? Okay, let's continue.
Where can we get one of those hats?
At the back part, the Forbidden City, in that store. Yeah. Yeah.
Why did they shift from Nanjing to Beijing?
Because that emperor who lived in Beijing for many years, he thought that a peaceful northern boundary was very important to defense of the country. So he wanted to move the major forces to the north to fight against those Mongolian people. That's why he moved the capital. Okay, by the way, there's a 4-star restaurant over here. Do you need to go? Anyone needs to use the restroom over here? Okay, you go ahead. That's a 4-star restaurant.